We're going. 3, 2. Oh, wait, shit. I already hit record before I counted us in. Anyways, we're. All right, we're roaring start here. Definitely Experts number 70. It's Sam, it's Connor. We're back for another show. What is up, my dude?
There's, frankly, a lot up in the world right now.
Yeah, I have a loaded question.
Yeah, not necessarily in my personal life per se, but certainly a lot of things going on. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of change, frankly, happening in the world, and the public perception of, issues like police brutality and racial relations in that regard are shifting in a pretty big way, and the optimist in me is excited for the direction that the world is heading, specifically our country. But it's also along the same path. There's a lot of terrible things happening as well. There's frankly, for those of you out there who are listening, you've probably already seen countless videos and demonstrations and things that you maybe don't agree with, or things that you do feverishly agree with, and neither of us, we both decided are really knowledgeable or in a position to really break this stuff down in any sort of meaningful way. But we're definitely thinking about this stuff quite a bit. We talked about a lot of it before the show, and I think both of us are trying to do a better job of educating ourselves on what's going on, and sort of just looking for our own personal growth in this regard.
Yeah, and I'll just add that it's a really interesting crossroads, and we kind of got into this a little bit before we started. An interesting kind of snapshot of where we've come from and yet how far we have to go. Obviously, it's very easy to focus on all the first and foremost, the incident that sparked this whole thing with George Floyd being murdered in Minneapolis, and then the whole fallout with both peaceful protests and protests that have turned violent and ugly. It's easy to focus on all that bad stuff, and hey, we very much acknowledge that we have a long way to go, in this journey for hopefully someday, relatively soon, equal or equality and peaceful living for everybody out there. But also, it's also interesting just to juxtapose that with where things were in 2016, just 4 years ago, and how we had very recent this week had Drew Brees saying what he said about expressing his feelings about anthem protests, and how that was very much not necessarily a hot take 4 years ago, but he got a ton of backlash from a lot of people, including a lot of his teammates. So it's really interesting to just see how far attitudes have shifted just in 4 years, going all the way back to what Colin Kaepernick started in the NFL. And even today with Roger Goodell putting out his statement, I think that just came out here this evening, but basically in a nutshell, they were in the wrong and didn't do a good enough job in 2016 with some social issues. So it's cool to see the progress, but we have a long way to go still.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it, that there's still quite a road ahead, but seeing the marked difference between attitudes just from that single issue, the Drew Brees thing, I think shows that there has been some progress made, but there's obviously still some to be had. So again, I don't think we'll necessarily get in the nitty-gritty of this, but we're definitely trying to keep tabs on it and see what's going on with it as it progresses. So speaking of Drew Brees, well, actually, do you want to talk about this picture first?
Oh yeah. So since you talked me into joining Reddit here, I think my favorite thing, one of my favorite pieces of content that I come across on Reddit in the Packers subreddit, r/Green Bay Packers, is, I don't know if it's the same guy, it might be, but these people that will do these photo edits that will try to make these super epic Packers photos. So there was one a couple weeks ago that I don't remember if I sent it to you or you sent it to me, but of Devontae Adams, and had a bunch of it wasn't expletives, but it was all the like the different keyboard characters that you use in place of an expletive in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Just in all this text surrounding Devontae Adams and then a big like goofy font, ha 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 ha. It's like what is this? This is insane. This makes no sense. Like, it's a cool picture of Devontae Adams with a slick looking background, but why are these words on my screen accompanying it? So it's like this is insane. So very much in that same vein, we had one today that this person posted. I'll describe it for you as best I can because it is insane.
We'll use this as the picture for the pod.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah, good call. I'll make sure I'll download this and throw it up and make it a thumbnail. But so you're looking at it right now if you're listening to this. You got Aaron Rodgers squatting down, looking down at the ground. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. You have to his right, laying on the ground, a Cal Aaron Rodgers jersey, and then opposite of that, laying in front of him on the left side is a white Brett Favre jersey. Now, I can't tell if that's his college jersey, if it's just kind of a whited out, black and white Packers one. It would be, I like to think it's a Southern Miss one, because that just makes a lot of sense. And then there's like a silhouette, like R2-D2 hologram looking thing of the Lombardi Trophy that Aaron's like staring down at. That's like too small though.
Yeah, it's like translucent.
Yeah, like if you don't really look closely, you can't see it because like the whole background. Well, the whole background is a big stack of tube televisions. there's like 5, 10, 15. There's like 30 of them stacked high, and they're all just kind of stacked. But like at first, I thought it was just like some of the ones on like the left hand side. You can see some on the screen of these TVs are Aaron Rodgers in his college getup and some stuff, some younger Packers Aaron Rodgers images on there, and I thought that was it. But then I didn't like have the brightness up on my phone when I was first looking at this. But no, every single one of these TVs has an image on it, but you can barely see some of the ones in the middle because it's so like whited out for some goddamn reason. So
yeah,
okay, that makes a little more sense. But there's all these images, all these stills of Aaron Rodgers on all these screens. You know, and the more I look at this thing, it's like, what's going on here? And it looks like if you look at the top left, like you can see there's like a sky background. Like, what is it snowing? And what is like this surface that he's standing on? It looks like he's standing on like in a desert. Like R2-D2's in Tatooine with him there. He's standing on sand. You know, I think only one of the TVs is sideways, but yeah, like I've spent like better part of like 20 minutes today looking at this picture,
trying to figure out what it means.
I find more and more things that make me, tilt my head sideways and say, "Huh? Why?" So I absolutely, this is my favorite content. I love it, but I'm sure this is not the way that the OP meant it to be enjoyed. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't. The pictures, frankly, I thought it was going to be a lot of, like, I saw in the top right, there's the image of him getting hit from Anthony Barr when he's on the ground. And so I thought it was going to be all these, like, adversity pictures and, like, him with, like, Brett Favre. And then looking at it, it's like, oh, there's just, like, pictures of him, like, in a hat smiling.
Well, there's a picture of him, like, I assume at NFL Honors getting an award.
Yeah.
There's him holding the Super Bowl trophy.
Him playing in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Him sitting next to Brett Favre on the bench.
Yeah. Him at a press conference.
Oh, wait, some of the top left ones are Brett Favre. Oh, wait, maybe not. Like the top
draft.
Very top left. There's somebody in a number 4 jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's a number 4.
Maybe that was his number when he was at Berlin before he went to Cal. Possible. I don't know. I'm not looking it up. Blinn College. What do their colors look like? Blinn College football uniforms. Nope, Blinn College. Blinn is where he went to JUCO, right?
Wasn't it Butte?
Oh, Butte. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be him.
Old Buck
Oh,
College?
yeah, it definitely is. Okay, it is him at Blinn. Or Butte. Jesus. He was number 4 in JUCO.
Okay.
So there we go. Now the circle is complete.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't... I said it to you when you first sent this to me, and it's still like, what is this meme? Like, what's the overarching message here? I still don't know. After looking at this even more and revisiting it throughout the day, I have no idea.
Oh, I like your original take was that this is how he watches film.
Yeah. He puts on all his game day skivvies and crouches down and stacks 30 tube TVs all together and just, let's just download this information.
Well, and the thing with watching it on these tube TVs like this is our favorite plot point from the old VHS movies.
That's right.
You're telling me that the video, Aaron's going up to the video department, like, hey, I know we got these iPads and shit now, and like you don't even need a DVD anymore, but can you take that and download it and then put it on a tape? Can you put it on a VHS tape for me? Here's I've been recording on my VCR Days of Our Lives while I'm at the stadium here, so I could catch up on soaps at night while I'm drinking my scotch. You just feel free to, I've watched these already. Feel free to tape over them.
Oh man, I enjoy it. I love it. It's very good.
Hey, Reddit, more of that.
Yeah, more content like this.
Because this is supposed to be good, whereas like the best post I think ever from the subreddit, as far as I know, was that person last year or at the end of the season that did the hand sketch. Hey, I tried to draw Aaron Rodgers by hand.
Yeah,
and it turned out. Yeah, I guess that's him.
That picture still is on the subreddit, and it's
so entertaining.
It's very good. I've saved it. I have it saved.
And that really took on a life of its own. And they posted that was on like that giant ass Jones sign place. They had their dynamic message board, and they threw that guy that worked there was like, "Yep, I'm throwing this up here."
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Reddit blesses us with some pretty quality content. So,
all right.
In any
Anyways,
case,
let's get down to business. We had our dynasty draft last week.
Yeah, so we kind of, I don't remember if we left this off on the podcast, but we joined a league, and then that league turned out to be run by a bunch of idiots. So we left that league because they went, we tried to make a trade in the league, and then that trade ended up, like, they didn't know how to, like, process a trade. And that was a problem because we obviously needed to make the trade when we were on the clock. And so they ended up switching just, like, our draft picks. And then they first got it wrong. What's that?
Yeah, they manually reassigned the picks instead of just accepting the trade.
Right, which was a really ass-backwards way of doing that. And they did it wrong.
Yeah, they got our picks flipped. Instead of me getting, I don't know what the trade was anymore, but instead of me getting your picks, it was whatever round, it was vice versa. You get it.
Yeah, and so it got all fucked up, and then I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, the cherry on top was, the one clause in the trade was you cannot take Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round, and you did.
Yeah, I thought you were messing around. So I did, and then we agreed to trade it back. I was like, whatever, I'll take the pick loss, and I'll trade back. But we couldn't even trade back because what had happened was we were stuck in a trade processing error because our trade technically still hadn't processed.
And that pick was involved.
Yeah, so it was all fucked. So yeah, we ended up leaving the league and joining another one that same night. And we ended up getting into a draft, and that draft pretty much took the better part of this whole week, which was both fun and also not fun because it felt like, at any given moment, it was like, all right, I'm 2 picks away, but then a guy in front of me would take 4 hours to pick, or he would like let it expire, and it was like, okay.
Some asshole was at work and missed his pick.
Yeah.
Which that was a thing that I don't know. You and I messaged about it, but like he missed. You're on the clock for 4 hours, and like 5 minutes after he got auto drafted, he hops on. And's like, "Oh, I was at work. Can I pick? Can I get my pick back?" And commissioner's like, "Yeah, I don't know, whatever." To which I think I was coming up pretty quick after that guy. And I was like, well, fuck that. You better not take who, I don't remember what round it was and who I took, but I
can
find somebody that was like, what the, why would you draft that person at all?
I'm trying to find where it was in the draft here. Is Tyler Boyd.
That's right. It was Tyler Boyd was the guy who got auto drafted. I want to say he grabbed a tight end. He definitely grabbed a tight end with like some really good dudes left on the board at tight end.
Evan Ingram, that's what it was. Is Evan Ingram in the 7th round here? He drafted Evan Ingram instead of Tyler Boyd. There it is. Yeah. So
Zach Ertz was still on the board.
Yeah. Yeah. So in any case, besides that though, this league, I mean, it definitely seems like it was run from a couple of dudes in here who have done this before. It was very active. There was quite a bit of trading.
Yeah, there's only a handful of people that didn't trade. Me being one of them.
Oh, you didn't trade at all?
No, I was in negotiations with like 2 or 3 different guys for deals, and I wasn't bending them over a barrel enough for my own liking.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. That's just me. I gotta have to dominate the trade. There's the one where the guy wanted trade me Russell Wilson and DJ Moore for and like a late round pick for J.K. Dobbins and either Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill. And I was okay with that until I was okay with trading J.K. Dobbins and a whole loot of Pirates ransom of picks for 2 players in return. I was okay with that, but as soon as he wanted one of my 2 stud receivers that I got at the top, I was much more hesitant, and he wasn't giving me he just wanted to give me like a 12th round pick.
Yeah.
Which is useless. So that deal did not come to fruition, and I am perfectly fine with that. Another guy was trying to make me an offer. Actually, I messaged another guy about an offer for Michael Thomas. He wanted a back. I thought he wanted a running back or a wide receiver in return plus picks, and he wanted but he actually wanted both. He wanted 2 players. He wanted a receiver and a running back, which in my mind I was trying to say, if I can trade you any and all my running backs for Michael Thomas, deal, because then I'll have like 3 of the top 4 receivers by ADP at least, or I think in draft value according to your fantasy guys.
Yeah.
Fantasy pros. There it is. So I was about that, but no, I didn't want to, because on their draft chart, trading Tyreek or Devontae for Michael Thomas is like a lateral move.
Yeah, which you have both of them. So,
yes.
I mean, I don't see why you'd give up that solid wide receiver core you built.
So didn't make the move, and I am A-okay with that.
Yeah. I was way overvaluing Michael Thomas. Yeah, so I don't know. We can kind of just go through this because I mean, the way it started off, I didn't necessarily in the first few rounds. I'd say around the 4th, 5th, I was a little unsure about how this draft was going, but I liked how it turned out. I think I enjoy my team much more at the end of it. So I'll just go. I'll go through my picks and I'll kind of go through it. Yeah. So I took Dalvin Cook with the 5th pick overall here. I picked that. I had the option of getting a higher pick, but I kind of wanted to sit there and see where these first few went, like the attitude of the group. And I'm glad that I did because Clyde Edwards-Helaire went 4th overall in this league, which obviously it left Dalvin Cook for me. but it was interesting to see him go before Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. Like, it was kind of nuts to me.
Because that was my plan, and I was picking ninth. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire was on the board, I was going to take him at 9, but I was surprised he went that high.
Yeah, it was a shock to me. But that's where he went. So following that, what I ended up doing is I traded out of the second round, and I got a couple of picks following that. I think I got an extra one for a second round next year, and then I also got an extra 4th, extra 5th, extra 6th, extra, I think 11th round pick from that. I got quite a few for this drafting, and then one for next year. So then I didn't pick until the 3rd round, and with that I was able to get Odell Beckham Jr. still in the 3rd round, which I was a little shocked by.
That's probably because there was a run on quarterbacks way early, which felt at least it felt like the quarterbacks were going way early in this league.
Yeah, which makes sense in a super flex. I get it, but at the same time, it was like, holy shit. There's plenty of value still to be had after Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott.
And Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow all went before you got OBJ there in the 3rd.
Yeah, Josh Allen in the 3rd round shocked me, man. Like, what? There's, I don't know. Joe Burrow, too, yeah, with in the 3rd round, too, before my pick. I don't know. I get it. It's like, quarterbacks are going to get you way more points, especially starting dudes. We both played. Yeah, I don't know. Especially in the beginning draft where you're kind of setting the cornerstone for your franchise with this draft, right? Because after this, it's all you do is draft rookies, and you decide who you want to keep, who you don't want to keep. So, I mean, you kind of form the basis of your franchise, and I don't know. I guess a lot of these people went quarterback, so it is what it is.
That's fine. That leaves good players on the board for you, for the likes of you and I.
Exactly. So after that, I went for age here, and I drafted DeAndre Swift in the actually before that, I went the wrong way here. I drafted Mike Evans with the traded pick that I got. He was still on the board in the 4th round. I mostly drafted him, I guess. I don't necessarily know if he's going to get superstar numbers next year with Tom Brady, but he's still relatively young. I think he's 26. So, I mean, there's opportunity for him to still ball out. I mean, he's a
stud, man. I've always been since Mike Evans broke in the league, I've been a huge, I don't know, I think he's just really good.
He's very good.
Very tall frame.
Very good contested catch receiver.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm getting him in the 4th round. It's, in the league that we're in, Dynasty, it's receivers obviously have a lot more longevity than any running backs will have. So, took him and OBJ, like 2 dudes that are at the top of the game right now, and both of them are still relatively young. So that was my thinking, is form the cornerstone of my team with these 2 dudes. And then I took DeAndre Swift in the same round, younger running back. I got Dalvin Cook already, who I'm hoping. First we should I don't know if we didn't explain what our roster is. So the roster is a little unique. So this is will be important. It's there's 1 quarterback, 1 running back slot, 1 wide receiver slot, 2 flex positions, and 1 super flex. And then 4 bench positions, and a taxi, and what will eventually become an IR spot.
Yeah, that fucked me up because I didn't realize that until midway through the draft.
And me either.
I thought we were starting 2 receivers, 2 running backs. I had to get a tight end. But no, you don't need a tight end at all.
Yeah, as it turns out, you don't. But the tight end does have a bonus. It's a 0.25 PPR bonus on top of the half PPR that this is. So it's a small bonus, not very big, but it's I guess, significant for tight ends that maybe get a lot of market share for their team. So anyway, from that, so I drafted DeAndre Swift. He's in a timeshare with Kerryon Johnson still, but obviously just drafting young running backs with the idea that one day he could transform into a workhorse running back. Trying to think a couple seasons out here, because Dalvin Cook, obviously he's on the final year of his contract, so you just hope that you can get a little bit of an insurance policy there, just in case Dalvin Cook goes to a different team. Something happens there, he gets injured, whatever. Hopefully you got a guy lined up. So that was kind of my thinking there. And then in the 5th round, I took my first quarterback, Matt Ryan, because as the 4th round kind of rattled on, Baker Mayfield and Tua both went off the board, so it was like shit. I gotta pull the trigger on a guy, and I'm glad that I did, because immediately after that there was a big old run on quarterbacks in the. Do you have the draft chart up too?
Yep, I'm looking at.
Okay, yeah. So right after that, you see from Matt Ryan on, that whole 5th, 6th round is where a whole bunch of quarterbacks went off the board. I was a part of that, obviously. So I took Matt Ryan. Guy who's still got a solid couple of years left. He has, solid weapons on the team. The offense is still run through Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and their running back position with Todd Gurley is one big question mark, and they have no insurance behind him whatsoever. So if he goes down, they're throwing it through the air for sure. So I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking. He's not necessarily the best dynasty option, but a guy who still definitely has a couple years, I'd think, doing what he's doing. And then I actually traded with a guy to land DK Metcalf. Or I don't think I did that right then. I think I was a little later. But I ended up he was taken in the 5th round here, so I'll just mention it. I traded a guy for DK Metcalf. I was doing a lot of reading, and DK Metcalf kept coming up as a guy to target in both redraft and dynasty leagues. But a lot of people were really high on DK being a breakout star, even though he kind of already broke out last year down the stretch there. There's a lot of people, though, that were saying that DK Metcalf could be a guy who's going to get 100-plus targets. He's got chemistry with Russell Wilson. There's been talk that Brian Schottenheimer wants to expand the route tree for him so that they can do more stuff. So I ended up trading to get DK Metcalf, and I thought that rounded out my wide receiver core with Odell Beckham, Mike Evans, DK. It's like, okay, we got 3 guys there that I feel pretty good about. A guy who's coming in his 2nd year, and he could be a guy who's could blossom into a superstar. I'll take a shot on him. So then I followed that up. I took Drew Brees, actually, the good old Drew, in the 6th round here, and I didn't really like this pick. This is probably my least favorite pick of the entire draft, honestly. But I immediately after that DK pick, a whole bunch of quarterbacks went off the board: Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, and Sam actually took Kirk Cousins. So there were 2 guys in there that I was targeting. I was looking at Aaron Rodgers, and I was looking at Kirk Cousins as my secondary quarterback. They both went off the board. And actually, as a tertiary option, I was briefly entertaining the idea of drafting Sam Darnold as a young quarterback option that I didn't really like, but
No.
he's young, so maybe I can just draft him and see what happens. So all 3 of those dudes went off the board, so I was like, fuck. I'm going to take Drew Brees, and I essentially just hope that I can pull through this fantasy season and, with the rookie draft next year, draft some young talent to supplement Matt Ryan.
But you got a baller at least here for a year or 2.
Right. I mean, Drew Brees also has weapons. He can put up numbers sometimes. He's obviously over 40, so I don't really like the idea of having him on my team. He doesn't really have a lot of value. But, have him there in a pinch, in the bye weeks and stuff. So I've got him there. So that happened. I traded, I think these next couple...
for a while here.
Yeah, well, I think that was a part of this DK trade. I traded away my 6th-round pick and traded away my 7th-round pick. And I guess I traded away my 8th-round pick. So I didn't pick again until the 9th round here. Took a little break. And I drafted Zach Ertz in the 9th round because he is just sitting on the board. And I wasn't super jazzed about this one either. Just because Dallas Goedert emerging in Philadelphia last year certainly seemed to put the writing on the wall for him. I think everybody agreed that he wasn't necessarily a upper, like the T1 guys like George Kittle and Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. He wasn't necessarily in that echelon anymore. He's a step below that. But in the 9th round here, man, I was looking at the dudes on the board, and it's like, he's still going to get targets. Like, they drafted Jalen Reagor, but he's a rookie, and Alshon Jeffrey's hurt all the time. So we got Deshaun Jackson in the mix there. A big old question mark with that. So I don't know. I took him because it's like, I still think he's going to get targets. I just don't think he's going to necessarily be top dude. But, I took him just to try to get some value out of the tight end bonus here. And that was kind of my thinking. And then I followed that up immediately by taking the handcuff to Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison with a traded pick that I landed.
I like that a lot for you. That's a really savvy pick.
Yeah, that's with this short roster size. I was really looking at it, and it was a pretty high pick to take somebody like Alexander Madison, who is purely a handcuff. But if Dalvin Cook goes down and that's that, there's only one running back slot, and I mean, I almost couldn't see myself coming away from this draft. Like I was looking at it after the Zach Ertz pick, and it's like, we're getting pretty late in the draft here. I thought really nobody took handcuffs to anything in this league. It was like, I think people are going to start taking handcuffs here. Like Tony Pollard's going to come off the board. Maybe Damian Williams is going to come off the board as somewhat of a handcuff to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But none of that happened. So I took Alexander Madison. I felt happy about it. And then followed that up with a pick, a rookie pick here that I think I'm going to throw in my taxi slot if he isn't necessarily emerging early in the season. I took Brandon Ayuk for the Niners. They traded up for him in the 1st round. So, I don't necessarily think I have an eye for these rookies and who's going to be good, and I'm not sure if anybody really does, but I felt pretty confident picking somebody like that who they traded up for. It's you got to think that they have some sort of plan for a guy like that if they trade up in the 1st round to select a wide receiver. So I took him there, and in that same round, I actually took A.J. Green in the 10th round. He was on the board too for quite a bit before I took him. Another piece where it maybe not the best value for Dynasty, but I just can't argue with the models that people are putting up with him and his consistency as a wide receiver. As long as he's healthy going into the year, I think he's still going to be able to put up numbers for, hopefully 2 or 3 more seasons is what all I'm hoping for out of A.J. Green, and I think he still has it, so I took him there. And next round, 11th round here, so penultimate round of this draft, I took Hayden Hurst, was still on the board. Guy. And I am super surprised that he wasn't taken because going into this turn, I was like, fuck. I'm targeting Hayden Hurst. Like, he's going to get taken. Like, there's no way that these dudes, like, Hayden Hurst has been, like, the talk of the town because his ADP is, like, it's starting to rise now, but his ADP was, like, so, like, it was unreal how low it was. It was, like, in redraft leagues still, it was, like, he's getting picked, like, 100-something overall. And it's, like, this dude who's walking in to a huge market share of tight end targets in Atlanta. There's no competition for him in the tight end room. Atlanta throws to the tight end. So it was surprising to me to see T.J. Hawkinson go before him. Tyrod Taylor went before him. A.J. Dillon went before him.
Jordan Howard. Come on.
Yeah. It was Dwayne Haskins, Marlon Mack, T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a good pick. But, so he got picked there. And then was that the last pick that I had? Yeah, that was the last pick that I had.
So that's your team, huh? So
yeah,
overall, if you just put a grade on it, how do you feel?
I'd say like a B. Maybe like I'd say a B minus. I wish I would have done a little better at quarterback. But everywhere else, I'm pretty confident in my wide receiver room. I've got, 4 dudes who five dudes, I guess, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 dudes. I was right the first time. Brandon Ayuk, AJ Green, DK Metcalf. There's 5 dudes. Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr. Certainly 4 dudes that I'm pretty confident in, and then Brandon Ayuk, who is a rookie and still has a lot to prove, but 4 dudes that I'm pretty sure can produce for me on a fairly consistent basis, and they're all on a different bye week. Odell Beckham and Mike Evans actually have the same bye week, so that could be problematic. But other dudes here who I think can supplement there. And then Zach Ertz and Hayden Hurst, I'm not mad about that at all. I think that, tight ends are a little whatever in this league because we don't have a tight end slot, but I think those are 2 dudes who are still going to get a fair amount of the target share in their respective teams. So, right, the only thing that I guess I'd do better is maybe go for a quarterback earlier, but I don't know. It's really tough to say because we were talking about it before. Like, all these dudes went really high on dudes like Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, and Drew Lock went in the 4th round. It's
Kyler Murray went in the 2nd.
Yeah, beginning of the 2nd. Right. So, I don't know. You do what you do, and whatever. I'm okay with my team. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. So mine's going to be easier to follow here because I made no trades, as I mentioned before. So picking 9th overall first round, Tyreek Hill, one of the top receiver options available. Had no problem with that. I was thinking Joe Mixon, but he went right 1 pick ahead. So it's kind of either torn between Tyreek Hill or DeAndre Hopkins. Who went 1 pick after me. DeAndre Hopkins is great. You know what you're getting in Tyreek Hill. You know he's going to produce. He's been consistent. He's in, one of the top 2 offenses in the league. So he's produced consistently. I feel good about that. Plus you get an element. You get an opportunity to score a couple bonus points every here and there in the return game. Maybe is he returning kicks still or punts?
Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, maybe not anymore.
I think he still does. I think he did last year. He was hurt for part of the year, so.
Okay. Well, and they also use him in this is a common theme going back a little while, but I love these gadget players, and Andy Reid does a good job getting him involved in other aspects in the game, getting him to the screen passes, getting him out in space, or handoffs, or other interesting things to get him the ball in space, which is always good to have different opportunities to get the ball in his hands. Second round went with another top receiver, Devontae Adams. So, he's with the clear number 1 in Green Bay. Had a great season last year, as long as he stays healthy, which has been a bit of an issue here, a little bit. But he's clearly a top tier receiver in the NFL and has production and the market share in that Green Bay offense, as we all know. So I feel really good about those 2 picks, picking at the back end of the first and then coming around on the turn, getting 2 of the top 4 receivers in the draft, according to the Fantasy Pros value chart. So, those are 2 cornerstone players, so I felt pretty good off the start. Third round, coming back, I with the way these running backs flew off the board early, which isn't it isn't a surprise. I knew I needed to get in the running back game here pretty quick. Kenyon Drake was the guy I was targeting. He went 2 picks ahead of me. So I went young here, guy that's been making some noise, and this is kind of a long-term play. Went J.K. Dobbins. So right now he's got Mark Ingram ahead of him on the Baltimore offense, but Mark Ingram is aging, and he's not long for this league. So the way Baltimore runs the ball, I think long-term I really like having J.K. Dobbins in my back pocket. Probably not a plug-and-play guy right away, though. So I'm okay with that. So to fix that, that problem.
Well, let me just go ahead and interject here and say that I think it's Ridiculous that Miles Sanders went before people like J.K. Dobbins even, or Aaron, or Kenyon Drake, Derrick Henry. All these dudes, man. Yeah, he went before. He was the guy traded the pick that I traded out of. This guy took Miles Sanders.
Good trade.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to take that guy, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, okay, so then next I was looking for someone to fill that running back slot week 1 here, or year 1. Went Leonard Fournette. I don't know. It's at this point in the draft, David Montgomery was the guy I was thinking about, but again, he went 3 picks ahead of where I was picking. Didn't like Melvin Gordon in Denver. I don't know how they're going to work that with him and Phillip Lindsay in that offense. DeAndre Swift, I already had a rookie. Didn't want to double up there like what you did later in this round. So I felt, Leonard Fournette's a guy, as long as he stays on the field and in the good graces of the Jacksonville organization, I don't know, he'll produce a little bit. Similar thought, and this is where I got into trouble. Now, I don't want to say I got into trouble, but I might have gone a different way here if I would have realized what the goddamn roster was. Because I went running back for the 3rd pick in the row, got Devin Singletary. A guy, the running back 1 for Buffalo, a team that runs the ball. So between him and Leonard Fournette, I got guys on different bye weeks that I can plug into that running back spot as needed. I feel pretty okay about throwing those guys out there. Just looking at, Todd Gurley went later. He was still on the board. I don't love the injury history there. I think that's why I pass on him and just how exactly he's going to fit into that offense. I guess you did make the point that he is far and away a running back 1. They got nobody on that roster behind him to really challenge him for snaps. So I don't know. Maybe could have gone there, but I feel pretty good about Devin Singletary at that in the 5th round as a running back. All right, and then you were mentioning there's this big quarterback run in the 5th round turning into the 6th. So you got Matt Ryan at the start of this whole thing. And I go Kirk Cousins in the 6th round after Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold come off the board. Looking at who is still on the board here, I thought for a minute about going Drew Brees, but I didn't like the shelf life there. Don't like that he's only going to be around for a little bit here. So at least Kirk Cousins, you get a little more longevity. Maybe not as dynamic, but
he's a surefire starter for a number of years. So
a guy that's going to be above average.
I think he's a way better pick, honestly, than a lot of these other dudes, man. I was pissed, frankly, that you took him 1 pick before because, he's not a guy that gets a lot of love, but I think he's way better of a pick than Sam Darnold, way better of a pick than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, those guys just weren't even on the board for me had they been there, which they weren't, which is fine, makes no difference. The only thing that sticks in my mind about Kirk Cousins, the only potential issues if you get into a game where Mike Zimmer wants to run the ball and then just run the ball a lot. There's the game, I think, was it week 1 against Atlanta last year where he threw the ball 8 times.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an issue, but I think that's throwing the ball 8 times in 2020 in the NFL is an outlier. So
right.
Well, I feel pretty good there. I think after I got him this next round in the 7th, I was thinking getting Adam Thielen. You talked me out of it because I wanted to. My favorite thing to do is run these stacks in fantasy. So Adam Thielen would have been that guy. You talked me out of it with Robert Woods still on the board. So I am, after everything we talked about last week about or was that 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, about how Robert Woods could be a top 10 fantasy receiver. I feel great about that. So between him, Robert Woods pairing him with Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, I feel great about my receivers. I feel really good about that. And I got one of my guys who at the end of the season last year I kind of fell in love with, Christian Kirk in the 8th. I know he didn't really do diddly poo for you beginning of the year, but then as soon as you traded him to me in a redraft league, he started producing a little bit. So, young guy. I think he's going to be his 3rd year in the league.
Yeah.
Developed a little chemistry with Kyler Murray last season, so I like that as a nice bench option. And then again, this is where I got the roster construction got me into trouble. I go Darren Waller because I thought I needed a tight end, which I don't know if it's a terrible pick. I feel very lukewarm and not great about this one, about getting Darren Waller, but I don't know. He's there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be super mad with it. I think that he was a stud last year because there's nobody to throw to, but it could also be the situation this year.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a guy we'll wait and see, and if he's going off again, then good, I got him. If not, he's probably going to be one of the first guys. One of the first 2 guys I look to make waiver wire moves with. Next guy, another guy I really love. I have loved for like 3 years now. Tariq Cohen. Well, he's the David Montgomery handcuff. Yeah, I guess. And also he's he's used a lot in the pass game. Much more dynamic 2 years ago. Last year it was just he was racking up PPR points. For me, I think he would have like 10 receptions for 15 yards. Which, I don't know. That's
in PPR,
points.
That's great.
Yeah, half PPR, not as valuable. So, if he can produce like he did, again, he's similar to Tyreek Hill. Kind of using it a variety of different ways. Swiss Army knife offensive weapon, which I just really have enjoying that variety of playmaking. Having a guy whose skill set is taken advantage of in a couple different ways. So yeah, that's a passion pick for me. And then I got real creative. Well, I don't know if I got real creative, but I got kind of slick here in the 11th and 12th, looking for backup quarterbacks. And I realized I kind of played myself because I picked up Jordan Love in the 11th. So that's a long-term rookie play. We'll see how that works out. He's definitely a taxi squad guy. And then in the 12th round, big roll of the dice here. I think this is a great value pick on my part, if I do say so myself, getting Cam Newton. Not on a team, but an above-average starting quarterback, if and when he does sign with the team eventually. But I realized I played myself because whenever Kirk Cousins bye week 7, I got to get another quarterback. unless Jordan Love.
I didn't even see that.
I didn't put that together in my head until like right now, or when you were going through your roster. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm stuck with hoping there's somebody that's actually playing, like available on the waiver wire.
Boy, who's on the waiver wire right now for quarterbacks? Let's see what you got.
Mitch Trubisky's your leader, your top valued guy. So
goodness gracious, Slim Pickens here.
Yeah, maybe he starts. Maybe not. Nick Mullins, Andy Dalton, backup. Marcus Mariota, backup. Kyle Allen, maybe he plays. And then Taysom Hill's probably he's probably the best guy to get because at least he's gonna get in the game. None of these guys are gonna even be on the field.
Mitch Trubisky is really the only guy that's starting here, and that's a big maybe.
Someone's going to get hurt, and that kind of changes the calculus here on this. But there's no starters left, no surefire starters at least. So, boy, week 7 is going to be interesting when that rolls around. Other than that, though, I feel pretty good. I got no overlapping bye weeks for the most part. Yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty good here with what I got.
Maybe I'll lend you Drew Brees.
That'd be, what would it cost me?
I don't know, probably nothing, because I don't give a shit.
How about Darren Waller?
Maybe. We'll see when the time comes. I'm not doing it now, because I only have 2 quarterbacks.
I'll give you Cam Newton, then you can have 2 quarterbacks still, or just one.
No, I don't want to roll those dice.
No, I like having Cam Newton as my third option.
I think that I think that was probably, looking at the 12th round here, going through these picks, he's definitely one of the better ones, I think, of the last round here. Mark Ingram going in the last round is a bit surprising to me because, frankly, I think he's going to be – I don't think he's a great dynasty pick, but I think he's going to still be the starter in Baltimore.
I would think so. He was really good last season.
But
that's part of the J.K. Dobbins thought, is that if you swap him out in a year or two and then put in J.K. Dobbins, that'd be good for me.
And Mike Williams also went second to last pick overall in this draft.
Yeah, I wasn't touching him. That's like
I'm not touching the Chargers offense at all.
Well, yeah, he had was a touchdown regression, right? He had the worst touchdown regression of all time last season with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. Right, and with that, and people kept saying, Mike Williams is going to turn back on because this is statistically, there's no way that this can keep happening, and it did keep happening. He sort of turned it on at the back end of the season, and he became like a decent wide receiver 2 on some of these weeks. But yeah, with Phillip Rivers departing, Chargers offense, it's like all bets are off. And I definitely... I don't even think Hunter Henry went off the board. No, he's still available.
Yeah, that Chargers offense with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert is very much a wait-and-see offense.
Where did Mr. Keenan Allen... Oh, here you go. He went in the 7th round.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a top-tier guy. I was surprised looking at this right now. Austin Hooper did not get picked.
Nope.
Nor did Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is a guy I kind of have my eye on.
I thought about drafting him, man, but then I was like, that seems so dumb to handcuff a tight end.
Yeah. Our guy Anthony Miller is still on the board, still available. Robbie Anderson.
Anthony Miller's still on the board.
Yeah. Pollard. Tony Pollard was the guy I was looking at the waiver wire a little bit. If I had somebody I was really disheartened with, had draft guy remorse, I would have gone Tony Pollard.
I was going to pick him up just to be an asshole and to try to parlay him into a trade.
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting question. So one of these taxi spots, right now I just dumped J.K. Dobbins and Jordan Love on the taxi squad. But when that converts to an IR position, can I throw Cam Newton on IR?
I don't think so because he's not on a team.
Yeah, something's going to have to give here. Someone's got to go at some point.
You could probably put you could probably throw him back because you can throw him on the taxi squad this year for sure, but you can't.
That's the plan.
You can't throw him on it next year.
No, I'm taking this 1 week at a time.
I'm just saying. I don't think anybody will pick him up because he's not starting probably next year.
No.
So, I don't know. I guess looking at this QB, I guess I conversely...
I also don't think anyone's going to pick up Tariq Cohen.
That's true. Maybe. I'm looking at your team. Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. This whole dynasty league doesn't really value running backs very much.
Yeah, when it comes push comes to shove here, and I'm looking at guys that are expendable. It's Darren Waller and Tariq Cohen for me.
Todd Gurley went in the 6th round.
Mm-hmm.
That is nuts. That guy. I was also looking at. I was kind of mad I missed out on David Johnson. I was gonna take him in the 9th round if he slid around there.
Yeah, I'm not in love with David Johnson.
No, I'm not in love with him at all. But as a 9th round pick, sure.
Yeah, he went right in the same range as James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, and Kareem Hunt. How Le'Veon Bell was falling. Top pick last year.
Fucking, they signed Frank Gore, who's absolutely going to get 8 to 10 touches, and it will piss me off if I draft Le'Veon Bell. It pissed me off so much last year to watch Le'Veon Bell get 15 carries and to watch fucking Ty Montgomery get the extra 5. It was like, what? Are you fucking joking? Really? Like, why? I don't know. It was insane. I mean, obviously, like you could have watched any game, and Le'Veon Bell was not putting up like insane numbers. He was putting up okay numbers for a while. Actually, he was putting up decent RB1 numbers, mostly because we were playing in a PPR league at the time, and he was still getting like, I mean, 6 to 8 receptions a game. So he had a solid floor. And then, what he could do on the ground, he could do on the ground. But it pissed me off as when I initially traded for him, because he would get those PPR points through receptions. And then if he would have gotten the carries that were given to people like Bilal Powell and Ty Montgomery, like he would have been fine. He finished as an RB1, but he would consistently finish below where I expected him to, because Adam Gase would give the ball to these other dudes, and it's like, why are you even doing that? Like, what does this accomplish?
Yeah, I'm not touching anybody on the Jets if Adam Gase is the head coach.
No, Adam Gase is a fucking clown, man.
I have no need for that. That it breaks my heart that Denzel Mims is there. I want to love you, Denzel, but
especially with nobody else really being there. Robbie Anderson left, so it's Jamison Crowder and Chris Herndon. Amazing.
Who's that guy that played for the Seahawks for a little bit?
Jermaine Kearse?
Yeah, he's there, isn't he?
Yeah, he might. I don't know if he's still there. Jermaine.
Whatever.
Kearse.
It doesn't tip the scales if he is.
Right.
Yeah, the only person, Denzel Mims is the only guy even thinking about just because he's a rookie. We don't know what he is yet, but Jets,
right. Well, even if he doesn't play, like he's still, Brashad Perriman, he's on the team.
No.
But right. Well, what you say is still true, because, I mean, right now they're, their top 3 dudes are Brashad Perriman, Denzel Mims, and Jamison Crowder. Like.
Cool.
Right, even like in a year, like what, you maybe sign a dude, like maybe Rashad Perriman isn't there anymore. I mean, who are you gonna replace him with? We got Josh Doxson, he's on the squad actually.
Wow.
We got Braxton Berrios in the second team here. Yeah, I don't know. Not a lot going on.
Give me... Okay, you know who's a waiver wire guy if you want a receiver? Sammy Watkins is still available.
What?
You can just plug in a starting player from the Chiefs offense if you want for nothing.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at this waiver wire now because, I mean, so we have obviously really shallow rosters, and that's why a lot of these top dudes that you'd normally see taken off the board aren't, because it really, like, every roster position is like super valuable.
Yeah.
So it will be really interesting on the day that they transform that taxi spot into an IR spot, because I think a lot of good dudes are going to end up on the waiver wire.
Yeah, for sure. Sammy Watkins is there. A nice little local guy, Alan Lazard, available. He's probably going to get picked up and bounced around a little bit this year, I would think.
Preston Williams is there, man.
Yeah. Alshon Jeffrey. John Ross. I don't want him.
No. Curtis Samuel's there.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard. John Brown. Paris Campbell is a guy that I'm peripherally interested in.
But Lynn Bowden from the Raiders is a guy I got. I got my eye on him a little bit. Want to wait and see.
Okay.
Receiver, but he another one of my Swiss Army knife guys. Played quarterback, receiver, running back at Kentucky. Did it all. Randall Cobb 2.0. We'll just see what happens with him. Put that in a tickler file. Josh Reynolds. That's somebody.
He's in the starting 3 for the Rams.
Yep. Miles Boykin.
No, I'm not interested in him.
Don't want him. But Will Dissly was a guy I kind of had a thing with last year. But looking at that Seahawks roster the other day, that's a very crowded tight end room with him, with Greg Olsen, with Luke Wilson. There's one other guy I think.
Isn't Jacob Hollister?
Yep, him too. That's 4 playable, 4 guys that are like legit NFL players. But
yeah.
Willie Snead out there, Larry Fitzgerald.
I don't want either of those guys.
Well, Larry Fitzgerald would be fine and to plug in a pinch.
Yeah, he's in the starting 3, but with DeAndre Hopkins there, I don't know.
Who did I see?
Less valuable.
You know, I thought I also had like half a thought to take to pick up Gronk way late in the draft, but he's still out there.
I don't want Gronk.
Why?
Maybe actually. I mean, with the way that this coronavirus thing's going, man, he could be more valuable than we think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that he's going to be good, but a 12th round flyer, I don't know, wouldn't be the worst thing.
Well, for free now, yeah.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
The only dude that has any chemistry with Brady right now.
And that whole team, yeah.
But here's a dude. Okay, so I noticed in our draft, Cam Akers went in the late 3rd round. Pretty high for a dude. This is a guy that in my Fantasy Pros podcast, they hate this dude. And they absolutely trash his ADP all the time. Like, they're like, man, they drafted this dude in the 2nd round. So, yeah, I don't know. They probably want to give him some work. But, like, I mean, they still have Darrell Henderson there. Like, their running back room is a total question mark right now.
Yeah, you know who else went in the 2nd round of the draft this year? A.J. Dillon, who went in, what round is that? The 11th round.
Right. He's not, I mean, I don't know. He might get some work, but I can't imagine that they're going to cede a ton of carries from Aaron Jones. That seems illogical.
No. He'll get carries next year when they don't re-sign Aaron Jones.
If they choose to re-sign Aaron Jones, but not Jamal Williams.
That too.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is definitely a pick that, like, I'm surprised Darrell Henderson didn't go off the board when Cam Akers went so high, because there's a lot of people that think Darrell Henderson is going to be the guy there, like, and then they're just going to have a weird thing, kind of like what the Denver Broncos did this past year, where they were just like almost 50-50 between Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman. And I could see that definitely happening, which means that neither of these dudes are going to be super valuable at all. So I'm not saying that.
Of course, what did the Broncos do in real life in roster construction? They added a 3rd guy. They added Melvin Gordon in the mix.
Right.
Go
fucking awesome. Fucking incredible guys. I don't know. I get it, because they are trying to find the workhorse guy. They must not have thought that either of those dudes were a true workhorse or running back, but. Yeah. I like the tandem of Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay better than the tandem of Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman.
Yes. From fantasy perspective, I still don't want any of them.
No, absolutely not.
Something interesting I thought, just from roster constructions, look at some of the other people in the league. This guy, FF Outpost, the guy who had the number 2 pick, boy, going back-to-back in the 3rd and 4th with the turn, getting George Kittle and Travis Kelce. That's a power move there.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think that was a pretty intelligent thing to do, because I think that they're both going to get, a ton of receptions.
Those are, the tight end 1, tight end 2, and then a bit of a drop off to whoever you think 3 is. I guess Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
So.
Conversely, I am looking at his roster right now, and I don't know if I really like it, because he has Sam Darnold, Tyrod Taylor, and Justin Herbert as his quarterbacks.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, yuckaroonie for me. Don't like that. And then the rest of his roster is Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay. I don't know about Kenny Golladay. Calvin Ridley, that's a good pick. Raheem Mostert, Mike Williams, who's this
Laviska
guy?
Shenault.
Oh, Deontay Johnson and Laviska Shenault.
So I don't know, whatever.
I'm not sold on Laviska Shenault, man. These reports of him being used as like an H-back, it's like, what? Really? That's what you're gonna do.
It's all about getting Trevor Lawrence next year in Jacksonville.
I know. I'm out on this whole Jackson. I don't know. There's arguments to be made for Gardner Minshew that they're gonna be playing from behind and defense is gonna be terrible, so they're gonna be throwing the ball a lot. But I don't know.
I'll pass. I'll just take my business elsewhere.
Yeah, I hate that argument because it's assuming that you're just gonna have these games, right? It does make some sense that you're playing from behind, you're gonna throw the ball more frequently. I mean, we kind of saw in Tampa Bay, he would obviously dug a hole for himself. Jameis Winston did, and so he had to throw the ball a lot. But I feel like that was a super extreme example, and a lot of people pointed to it, where it was they play behind, and he's throwing for fucking 1 billion yards and 30 touchdowns, and it's kind of I don't know. There's a lot of things happening there, but I don't think that's necessarily the
that's the peak of playing for behind production.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Is this is the best case scenario for his wide receivers. Mike Evans.
Best case for a guy that's going to throw 30 interceptions.
Right, exactly.
Also throw 30 touchdowns.
Right.
And 1 million yards.
Yes. I don't necessarily think that, there are plenty of other examples, Sam Darnold. The Jets' offense was fucking terrible. So, I don't know. I think that there's weapons in Jacksonville. DJ Moore is a baller. We saw that, but,
DJ Chark.
That's what I meant. DJ Chark. But are they going to be able to supplement players around him so that teams can't just go, all right, well, let's take Chark away. Now what? So I don't know. Anyway, in any case, sort of went on a tangent there. I was kind of looking at some of these other teams. So I did some scouting around here to try to see, what the vibe was here, what we're looking at with these teams. Well, trying to figure out, especially with our commissioner who just seemed to punt on every single draft pick. I was trying to look at his team, what does his team look like? And it's his team's actually pretty good.
His quarterback situation's weird.
Yeah, his quarterback situation is a little odd.
Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, those are dudes for sure. I don't know. I think you could definitely do worse. Obviously the one that we just listed with Sam Darnold and Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. I hate that one a lot more than this one.
I think I hate this one though. Still.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a lot of dudes that are sky high there. We obviously talked about Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville offense, but Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo aren't necessarily blowing you out of the park with their numbers. They were pretty pedestrian last year for sure. I don't know. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a guy that can whip up some magic in a pinch, but it doesn't really seem like the offense is trending in a direction where having him as your quarterback is necessarily the best thing in fantasy.
Yeah. What do you think of this guy, Jay Ramis, 808?
Let's visit him.
He picked 3 straight quarterbacks in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. Went Stafford, Tannehill, Tom Brady, and then grabbed Ben Roethlisberger in the 10th.
Oh, goodness.
It's too many quarterbacks, guy.
There's a ton of quarterbacks. And not very valuable ones either. No. I like Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford is a guy that is...
Yeah, of the 4 he's out there, that's the most valuable.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They were talking about him actually on the Fantasy Pros podcast that he was on pace before his injury to throw for 5,000 yards last year.
Well, yeah, he's gonna break every career passing record by the time he's done.
Yeah.
He's been throwing the ball since 2009 for 11, 12 years now, and just slinging it and putting up big numbers. But yeah, Matt Stafford's. That's fine. The rest of the roster, whatever. Chris Godwin, Alvin Kamara are good.
I'm not in love with Alvin Kamara, man. He's a good running back, but I I liked him a lot better when it was the 1-2 punch of Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. Especially last year. Seeing his production
last year, definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
Bounce
I
back
don't know.
here.
Right, maybe. Which ironically he has Mark Ingram on his roster.
There you go.
And Kerryon Johnson. Yeah, some of these dudes, I don't know. David Johnson.
I like getting Jarvis Landry in the 9th. I think that's a good pick.
Right, yeah. A lot of bets on Cleveland's offense. It's a bit of a buy low situation there with the pieces. Obviously, Jarvis Landry's talented. OBJ's talented. But it all kind of hinges on whether or not Baker Mayfield's going to take a step forward, and that's a bet that some people don't want to make, which I get. But we'll see. Kevin Stefanski, man, is he the truth? Might want to just run the ball. Coming from Minnesota there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look at some of these dudes who did a lot more trading. This BWWA guy, he's a big
right now.
Big trader.
He's the guy that picked Miles Sanders in the 2nd. That was his 3rd running back off on his roster. Running back first 3 picks. Got Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd, which I don't know. I don't love that.
I don't know. I get the Jonathan Taylor pick because Jonathan Taylor is. I mean, he's gonna be he's the RB1. They say Marlon Mack is right now, but there's no way. Jonathan Taylor is gonna be the guy sooner rather than later, I think. So whatever, I can get over that. But yeah, I don't like Nick Foles on the roster. Matt Breida, okay.
This dude very active. He had picks, a first-round pick, 3 seconds, and a 3rd, and then was sat out for 4 straight rounds. And the round after that.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I think this roster sucks.
I'm kind of with you, man. I'm looking at his dudes, and it's like...
Yeah, Russell Wilson, good. DJ Moore, wide receiver 1 in Carolina, fine.
Yeah, not super excited about DJ Moore being your top dude there, but we'll get over it.
And then Kareem Hunt. Yeah,
well, actually, back up a second. His wide receiver core is DJ Moore, Michael Gallup, and Mecole Hardman. I don't like that at all.
No.
You got to plug one of those guys in for sure at some point.
I like all these guys. Like Michael Gallup's fine, I think, is your wide receiver 3-4. You know, your fringe flex player.
Yeah.
Same thing for Mecole Hardman, but yeah. To your point, somebody has to play.
Right. I mean, you're gonna have to plug somebody in at some point.
I don't think because Joe Mixon at the top. Yeah, he's playing. He's a plug and play every week guy. Jonathan Taylor probably. Miles Sanders, maybe. Unless you're starting a whole bunch of running backs in those flex spots, but. Boy, yeah, this roster sucks, man.
Yeah, it's also injuries, dude. Like I hate hedging my bets on so DJ Moore doesn't have a bye until week 13, which is awesome, but you know, I hate playing the game where it's like, all right, well, cool, I can draft that guy, and then it's like, all right, well, hopefully I can just take care of my problems 13 weeks into the season, and you know, somebody's available. And like we said, there's a bunch of wideouts.
Like what I'm doing with that quarterback.
Right, exactly. Just kind of let's play the waiting game, I guess. But if you look at the other portions of his roster, it's like what you were saying. I mean, Kareem Hunt's fine, I guess. But like Matt Breida, yuck. AJ Dillon, I don't know about that.
Matt Breida, and it's the thing with any of those San Francisco running backs. You just have to guess right. Boy, is this the week they're gonna go off for 200?
Well, he's in Miami now.
Oh, never mind.
He's sharing it with Jordan Howard.
Yeah, never mind. All right.
Yeah.
None of that. Double no.
Exactly. I don't know about that one. So he's there, and then AJ Dillon, he's not playing this year probably. And then he's got Bryan Edwards.
All right. Terrible. Conversely, I don't know if you have anything more to say about this guy's roster. There's another roster I do like from one of our cohorts. That is Luke Sawhook. He's got a couple stud receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, sandwiched between a Josh Jacobs pick.
Okay,
that's a solid top start. Carson Wentz, all right. Daniel Jones, don't like him, but Cooper Kupp, that's a nice flex guy.
Yeah, 6th round pick for Cooper Kupp, that's excellent.
That's good value. And a couple of rookies, Jalen Reagor, Denzel Mims. And we already kind of roasted him for the Evan Ingram pick.
Yeah, that is a bullshit pick. I'll stand by that.
Yeah. So whatever, you get one, and then threw a couple darts at the board with quarterbacks. James Winston.
Sony Michel.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yuck.
Sony Michel, who was still on the board there? AJ Green was on the board. Michael Gallup, T. Higgins. AJ, well, no. I don't know. Don't love it.
Yeah, I don't like his running back room at all, but I mean the rest of it, like his quarterback situation is pretty dank.
Definitely going to be super flex in some combination of Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out in New York Giants offense, but having Carson Wentz and Derek Carr has a ton of weapons in Los Angeles there, so hopefully one of those rookie wideouts will emerge, but if not, I mean, you still have Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and some. Hopefully Henry Ruggs will be available early on, but I saw that. So did you see the news about him getting injured in the move?
Yeah.
That really put me off on him. It was actually during our draft, and Henry Ruggs, I think, might have. Let me see. I think he was still on the board. Looking at
I don't know when he went. I don't remember seeing him getting taken. I know he got taken somewhere, but
Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs. There he is. He's taken in the 9th round. Yeah, so I think he was still on the board, and I thought about it. I entertained it for a minute, and then I saw this news, and I was like, no. It was like the Raiders are trying to determine what the severity of it, and it's like, oh, he had it like his leg punctured in a moving accident, and it was like an inch from his femoral artery, and it's like, holy shit. It's like you can die if your femoral artery gets like severed. So I read that and it was like, absolutely not. We'll go ahead and draft somebody else. So in any case, yeah, I don't know, Derek Carr, but I really liked his Jameis Winston. I was really jealous of that one. Jameis was a guy that was near and dear to me last year in Fantasyland. And
so long, partner.
Yeah, so seeing him go, he was definitely a guy that it was like, oh man, well hopefully, nobody takes him because he's a backup this year to Drew Brees, and he's there on a 1-year deal, so like maybe I can pick him up, stash him, and then he gets a deal somewhere, and with his brand new eyes, he goes on to be the quarterback of the century. And so anyway, that was the plan, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah, clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Exactly. Yeah, that was that. I was wrong. I misspoke. I didn't realize that I misspoke earlier. But the guy who did take Clyde Edwards-Helaire did end up taking Damian Williams as a handcuff.
Okay.
I totally didn't see that.
That's something I was thinking about trying to target later in the draft, trying to target Zach Moss to be a handcuff to Devin Singletary. Didn't work out. He went higher than I wanted to take him, went in the 9th round.
Oh, yeah, he sure did, didn't he? Wow.
Yeah, if he was sitting there in the 10th through the 11th, or maybe even in the 9th when my pick would have came up later because he was at the very top of the 9th, I definitely would have entertained that. But that didn't work out, and that's fine.
Ooh, looking at some of this stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to see. It's really hard with some of these teams that obviously like the pick on the block guy who just like traded all of his picks. So, but looking at some of these dudes, Oh yeah, this will be interesting to see how some of the stuff shakes out.
Yeah, we'll
I don't
see in
know.
3 months.
Yeah,
how
right.
different
Exactly.
it is.
I mean, right. Everybody comes away from the draft usually with a positive overtone, but obviously when the season starts, everything is much different.
Yeah,
And it's Dynasty, so I mean,
This is it's gonna last for a long time. You're gonna change year to year. What did you give yourself for a grade? You gave yourself a B, B plus.
yeah, like B minus.
I'm gonna give myself a C plus.
Okay.
I played myself with A, not knowing how the roster worked, and B, with what I realized with my quarterback situation. Come week 7, I'm going to be fucked.
Yeah, I'm not in love with that.
But other than that, the other 16 weeks of the season. Wait, are they playing 17 games this year? I've gotten confused
I thought that
whether
was
that's
no.
next
I
year.
thought that was next year. I don't think it's this year.
Are they playing? Are they having 7 playoff teams this year?
Oh, I think that
Is that this year?
is this year. I don't know about that one
I
actually.
can't remember because those two things I keep getting crisscrossed in my mind. Well, what's happening this year? What's happening next year? Or if that 17 game thing was that even actually happening or agreed to, or is that was?
I believe that is agreed to, but it's 2021, not 2020.
Okay.
Um.
But the 7th wild card, the 3rd wild card team, I think is a thing this year.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll get the fact check department on that.
Yeah. I was happy to come around or come out of this.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
What?
Nothing. I was just had a thing like, oh, it's definitely not 17 games this year because we already know what the schedule is.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Anyways.
Anyway, I was happy to come out of this draft with all my future draft picks still. There was quite yeah. So that kind of said to me, the season can go a number of ways, and obviously I can still trade these draft picks, still have the opportunity to do that. But I didn't mortgage my future in this draft, which I was somewhat scared to do because there was a lot of trading of future picks, man. A lot of these picks, like you I think mentioned it to me, like this Cruiseway guy trading these 2020 picks, 2021 picks, not 2020, 2021 and 2022 picks. Like his first round pick, he traded away his first round pick for, next year and the one after that. Like this Cruiseway dude, like totally mortgaged his future, and I'm not like in love with his roster still. Like,
I definitely entertained in some of the trade negotiations I was in. Like, I'll give you all my first round picks. I'll give you all my future picks for that Michael Thomas deal.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to give up any players right now that I already had.
Right.
Which is I'm A-okay now after the fact, saying I didn't mortgage the farm here, but I would have.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would have been a terrible deal for you to like give up a ton of your future picks to have wide receiver core of Tyreek, Devontae, and Michael Thomas. That's a solid.
I would have been A-okay with that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just tough when you're looking at dudes in the future. Especially with your quarterback situation, it's like having no picks at all to use to get anybody else to help out. It makes it tough, and you don't know what will happen through the course of the season. So, just having things there, it's nice to look at it and be like, okay, well, we can go into the rookie draft, and if we need to get some dudes here, we can. If we don't, then we don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what happened in the Dynasty draft. I'm excited to see what happens here. It seems like the league is pretty active for the most part, so I like that. I really felt like last year I got myself in a lot of trouble because I really tried to initiate activity in the league, and I just would trade people for the sake of trading people. And it ended up working out, but I definitely
ended up just fucking around and winning the league, but
right. I tried, but it was definitely. There were a few trades here and there where it's like, I don't know if I need to do that. So I like that in this league I can sort of just play at my own pace, and I don't have to feel like I have to, push an initiative at all. It's like this league already seems like it has its own vibe, so I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll see. It's an odd format, so it'll be interesting to see how it works out. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. This is going to be fun. It's going to be something different. First time doing a Dynasty League. So, you got anything else?
No, I think that'll do it.
All right. Well, hey, never mind.
We're hoping to get somebody on here. We've been trying to track down a guy for the last couple of weeks, and we're hoping we've been saying at the end of the show, I think, the last couple of weeks that we're going to have somebody. I think next week we will have somebody, but no promises.
Yeah, so stick around for a great another guest episode. And in the meantime, be sure to like, rate, share, subscribe.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.